This afternoon's speaker, Francisco Ferreira, is lead economist of the World Bank's research department. His interests include the economics of poverty, inequality, and development. He's published more than 25 scholarly articles and a number of books and book chapters on these topics, including economic mobility and the rise of the Latin American middle class, which he'll be talking about at some length today. In addition to his scholarship, he has been Deputy Chief Economist for Latin America and the Caribbean, and co-director of the team that wrote the World Development Report on Equity and Development for the World Bank. He's also editor-in-chief of the Journal the Journal of Economic Inequality, and a former editor of Economia, the Journal of Latin American and Caribbean Economic Association. He is involved in many scholarly as well as policy communities. He's on the editorial board of the Review of Income and Wealth, the World Bank Economic Review, and the Economic Analysis Review. And he's also on the Council of the International Association for Research on Income and Wealth and the Society for the Study of Economic Inequality. His scholarship has been the recipient of a number of awards, including the Adriano Romeu Duarte and the Arlombos Simonides prizes from the Brazilian Economic and Econometric Societies, and the Kendricks Prize for the best article published in the Review of Income and Wealth during 2006 and 2007. A native of Sao Paulo, Brazil, he holds a PhD in economics from the London School of Economics, and before joining the World Bank, he was an assistant professor of economics at the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro. He'll be speaking this afternoon on the rise of the Latin American middle class. So, welcome to Penn. It's a real terrific to have you.
Tom, thanks very much to you and to Emilio and to Matthew for the invitation to be here. It's great to be here. Thanks also for this kind introduction. As I hear you, I'm reminded yet again that I must go on the web and make sure that I delete all of these very long bios that are there, because they're very embarrassing. So we should have only shorter bios on the web. But thanks. So I'm here this afternoon to speak about this book, which was produced with a team of co-authors: Julian Messina, Jamel Rigolini, Luis Felipe Lopez Calva, Mariana Lugo, and Renos Vakis, all of us at the World Bank. And it was what the World Bank calls its regional flagship report for last year on Latin America. The structure of the talk is basically three parts. One, a motivation and some brief introduction on concepts and measurement, because both mobility and middle class, which I'm going to be talking about, are words that can mean and do mean different things for different people. So I want to be clear about what we're talking about, at least in this report. Then there comes a segment on mobility, separated into looking at mobility across generations and mobility within generations. And then the sort of final segment, if you like, on the middle class. First, a more descriptive part, which is just telling you some numbers about what's been happening to the middle class in Latin America according to our definition, and a profile of what it looks like. And then a slightly more speculative chapter about what the meaning of that increase or that rise, that growth in the Latin American middle class might be for the future of policy making in the region, before I briefly conclude. So I understand there's a long question and answer period at the end, but we're not such a large group. Do feel free to interrupt me at any time if you like to ask any question about what I'm saying.